All right, folks, welcome on back here this Friday, July 2nd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time to wrap things up for the week, heading into the 4th of July weekend. Great to see all of us for this afternoon meeting. Great to see Andrea, Grant, Leda, David, Norman, Gene, Kathy, Skip, Jason, all of our students, of course, live inside our trading room, and all of us in social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Welcome on back. Facebook, finally up and running. I know there was a couple of issues this week, including yesterday. So for anyone tuning in specific on Facebook, I apologize just for the afternoon broadcasts here. I'm glad to have you back at least. But with that in mind, let's begin, because for heading into 4th of July weekend, I said this right before, doing a quick sound test for all of us in Cyber Group earlier. Going into 4th of July weekend, I would not be expecting to see the type of runners that we've caught this morning and heading into this afternoon. So, to start this SQBG trade, I got a little time here, heading into holiday weekend. It's kind of like mail time, no class. I'm going to be doing the whole broadcast for the close. So I don't mind going long on the stream here. I'm going to just check news across the board for a lot of these runners. But to begin, the SQBG, just says here halted on circuit breaker. No specific news really on the stock. It might be a pot stock. I don't know. Some affiliation perhaps with Canopy Growth, CGC, maybe. But, ended up making a huge pop, more so heading into the early afternoon. Ended up really from 12 o'clock onward, 1 o'clock, I should say, really. Ended up breaking higher from roughly 1150, ended up snapping up, getting halted a couple of times on the way up. And then from that point, normally you would expect to see a stock. I don't know the float on this action. I will check for that too. But, just for typically a low float, low volume type of stock, you would not be, holy crap. I was going to say something else. This is as low float gets. Rarely see a stock, at least that we tend to trade, under like 5 million. There's a couple here and there that's really low float like that, but to see a stock with like an 810,000 share float and 166 or 1.66 million share outstanding, that's really light. So when the stars align, God bless, it leads to this type of parabolic move practically into the afternoon here. So it makes it almost untradeable. It makes it actually untradeable. It's not just almost. This is like pretty much untradeable. The best thing for you to do at this point, unless if you're holding on from much earlier, which, if you're holding on from like 12, 13, 14 in Cyber Group right now, kudos to you. You're probably doing it on small share size because of the volatility and the liquidity. Either way, that's an incredible trade, right? So, God bless if you ended up doing that. But if you're not in this trade, you got to look for pullbacks. You got to look for shakes. For as much as the stock has trended up perfectly nearly off the lows, when is it going to drop? And when it drops, it's going to drop hard. I wouldn't be looking for the first pullback. I'd be looking for maybe 20. I know it dipped down there earlier and then shot back up. But, if it ends up dropping off of even from 25 high, if it tops off at 25 resistance and then drops down at 20, perhaps that could be like the first true, bounce or buying opportunity on that stock. It might get halted on the way down. You never know. So, man, I'd say unless if you're already in this stock cleaning up, it's going to be really tough to try and trade this either way. So, it might just be one to watch for fun. That's it. It's a firework in the stock market world here, right? You've seen stocks up more percentage-wise. This is up 180%, which is insane. But, we've seen stocks up more percentage-wise. But to see this beautiful move, that you rarely tend to see that. And again, it's just I'm shedding caution to this. It's for as low float as it is, it's going to crash really bad. Not every stock's going to be the ALF or the MRIN that runs day to day to day. This is going to make the percent losers list likely come next week, if not Monday, right? All right. So, hey, we started off at number one. I don't have class coming up later on today, which, on those days I normally just kind of zip through. I'm not going to zip through. I'm going to just go from top to bottom, though. See what else we got, right? We'll review them, as we go through any of the big moves that we caught from earlier. Same to be said on this wave stock, right? This one already crashed and burned from 29 high and, it got halted a couple of times on the way up here, on the way down here, probably here. This, crazy shake, this big break below support makes it tough to get out of. Actually, just for fun, we'll double check the float. I don't know if it's lower than SQBG, but it's to say that Benzinga or TradeStation doesn't even list it. There's a couple there. Most of them warrants. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is just new IPO. Maybe that's why they just don't list the float. I could check Benzinga later on in Cyber Group. Now, I saw the call out earlier on the ALEC trade. At this point, I'm done with it. It ended up squeezing up after the market opened up. It's another one, like low float, low volume, likely. I mean, prior to today, prior to whatever news came out on this stock, it was trading just over 500,000 shares on average. So, given that, provided the volume that is trading in total right now, the volume it was trading earlier in the morning, that's way more than what it typically does. And the float's not bad, 69 million. That's moderate. So, if the stars could align here, perhaps it can make an afternoon squeeze, but the liquidity is pretty light on the book. It's just thin, spread out. Don't need it. We don't really need to, trade this stock right now. The TAT trade. This was choppy in pre-market. It was choppier after the open. I was interested in it. I lined it up very lightly. I drew like the 50-cent levels and whole numbers, and that was it. For the TAT trade, this was on our pre-market watch list, I believe. I'll just check out the news on this stock. Right now, it seems to be kind of bottoming out right around 8, maybe 820-ish. Again, another stock, like very thin volume on the book. Let's see, TAT Technology shares trading higher after the company announced a new MRO partnership with company Honeywell. I don't know if that's the... I feel like Honeywell is some sort of food product, no? Food brand, perhaps. I don't know. You folks maybe let me know on the side. But either way, perhaps this stock could be good to keep on the side list going into next week. As I say that, I might want to retract that, actually. Crap. Look at the volume that this stock traded like the last however many days prior to today and just even yesterday. 30,000 shares on average, traded 84,000 shares back on Wednesday of this week, 10,000 shares back on Tuesday. So I don't know. This thing's got to prove itself to me. I mean, not every stock we're going to keep on our side list or follow up with every single day going forward. It happens at times where stocks, even though this dumped off, if it had good volume, traded, about 1 million shares a day, perhaps, few 100,000 shares a day, more than whatever it's doing, I'd be more interested, but it's got to prove itself to me. Prove itself to me like the MRIN trade, right? Geez. So, it just goes to show back from a week and a half ago, this stock, it was trading 600,000 shares on average a day. I don't know, maybe going back to maybe mid to late June. It was trading a few 100,000 shares on average a day. We weren't familiar with the stock at all. And then it exploded in pre-market on the 24th, ran from 3 up to 381. So we said, all right, we'll keep it on our side list. Sure, it'll probably dump off at some point, and then obviously it blew the lid off and exploded. But, we're going to follow this stock now going forward, likely practically every day. There might not be a great trade on this stock every day, but, going forward every morning in pre-market for the next week or two, I'm going to be at least looking at it, seeing if there's, any sort of opportunity. All right. OSG buyout. Knew that. Talked about that in pre-market, folks. I wrote that in the chat board. Hate to say that, but staff, hey, what goes up comes back down. Ended up making a nice slingshot after the market opened up. Took a few attempts to get the real push, but broke out over 5. Actually, let me zoom in on this chart. I don't mind doing that here. I mean, the stock's definitely not worth watching for the close, but as far as the market open, we saw the stock kind of bottom out right around its opening bell print and roughly off of 5 off the few attempts of it breaking through that level. And once it popped here, finally it ended up holding support, ended up making the big push from that point, right? Even after it took a little bit longer and then ran up, but ended up topping off right around 680, if I'm not mistaken. 665, 675. Yeah, 675 high. But, goes to say again, when the volume dies off, so does the stock. I say that practically every day. But hey, I say that for a reason though, right? I kind of stamp it in the back of your heads just, so you don't make that mistake of holding on to this stock as it dumps all the way back down. Try and hope and hold, oh, it's going to move back up at some point, right? 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 Nope, not at all. So, you got to be careful on a trade like this, even though this does have good volume on the book and all of that stuff. But All right, let's keep it going. See what else we got. BLIN. This stock we did really well on. I mean, just from earlier this week, back on Wednesday, it ended up popping and then dropping, and from there we ended up following up with it yesterday. Didn't really make the best move at first, then made the slingshot later on for us in the afternoon. But today ended up making this really nice push. Got pretty choppy early on, but man, this made kind of a similar move as the STAF did practically. After the market opened up, had a few attempts of breaking over 650 in this case, but it ended up doing so, ended up holding it as support after, right on up towards like 825. This was really nasty here. So, we talk about this going into like the mid-morning, and we normally say it's around like 10:30 Eastern time, 10:45, maybe sometimes, earlier, sometimes later like this, but, it can't keep on going up forever, right? So it broke above resistance off of 825 here. Looked good at the time, but obviously snapped right back down on the same bar. And same kind of story, right? Ended up dumping all the way back down. Made for some good bounces. I ended up getting clipped on some trades here just before we started the meeting. I was hoping to see this really begin to squeeze up, into the close, and doesn't seem to be the case now. I'm happy to be out of my position right now. At least I took 2 losses, like an 8-cent or 12-cent loss at first. Like I set my stop on stop market there, so I forgot if it was like 8, 10, 12. The second one was like 4 cents, so I made it really tight on the second one, just hoping that it would make the bigger squeeze at the time. It did not. I feel like at this point, I'm not going to like put it on our main list. I don't think I have like really many on our main list. Or I don't have like any stocks so far on our watch list. I mean, we've only gone through the first 10, but you would figure with a lot of stocks on the top of the gainers, I'd normally put a couple on there to begin. There's normally some good positions out there that are near the top of the gainers list. So, who knows? I mean, hey, we're heading into 4th of July weekend, so we normally don't expect a lot. We had a whole lot, and maybe this could be it. I mean, I was going to get to this. I saw this from Benzinga Pro. I saw this later calling it out inside our trading room. So I had a feeling, of course, that this was going to come. But the EFOI trade ended up making this big pop just now. Ended up like grinding on up earlier this morning or into the late morning, early afternoon. Kind of like really low volume, but ended up making this big pop here. So be careful for the pullback down. There's no news on this stock really. Latest news on this really was dating back to June 22nd. Something about like tweeted something. I don't know about their LED products. I guess for like schools. Norman here in Cyber Group saying the VISL just popped. I do see that also on Benzinga Pro. How about that? And also, how about this? I'm going to do something really fast here. I don't do this too often. Give me a quick sec. Doing this on social media only. For all of us in Cyber Group, I show this in class. You folks see Benzinga Pro all the time. I'm just doing this as a little treat for them on social media. This is my screen on Benzinga Pro, so I'm just showing like right now, like kind of my stream of like stocks that are breaking new highs of the day. Here's the is that MRIN? No, WRN, not that, but you got EFOI, the SQBG crazy one. Obviously, seems to be pushing up from before. Pola, maybe we'll get to in just a bit, but this is what I'm looking at, kind of when I'm doing these streams, these broadcasts in the afternoon. All right. So let me switch monitors. We're gonna just get that normal platform sharing again. Give me a quick second. All right, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so back to the gainers list, and for all of us in Cyber Group, now we're back to the just kind of scans here. But OPTT, right? We have the EFOI on our list, of course. Hopefully that keeps going at some point. But the OPTT trade, I don't know. I'm still kind of interested in it now. I am more so because of the rebreak over 3. Not much. Got a couple prints over 3. I mean, really 302. Got to see more coming in from there. But, it looks a lot better now than it did before. I was looking at it before, and I was saying, like, earlier before we started the meeting, hopefully that, this can make the rebreak later on, and here it is now. So I'm going to put this back on our list, the OPTT stock. When I say back on our list, it wasn't on the morning watch list, but it's a stock that we are very familiar with. We've traded this stock as recent as, I think, like May or June, or not May or June, March this year, January. you get a little tripped up with your days, weeks, and months, folks, over time. I said June, March, May, back in late January, we traded the stock. And even before that, over the many months and years prior to that, I mean, I can go back if I wanted to, but I remember trading the stock as early as like 2016. So Ocean Power, we're really familiar with here in Cyber Group. For right now, pushing over 3. Hopefully it keeps going. Hopefully we see a lot more, prints coming in green over 3. I'm sure it'll shake around given it's like not the fastest move, but for right now, we'll put this on our list. All right, keep it going. ASTR was a beautiful run from earlier today. You can see at least more so on the 5-minute chart. Ended up making the slingshot. Ended up kind of popping around like 14. Ended up breaking out from 14 right here, going into like 10:45, 11 o'clock Eastern. Made a really nice pop and run from that point, right? So, it's kind of pulling back towards the lows that were being built off the trends going into the pre-market, into the open. If I kind of zoom out on the daily or on the 5-minute chart. Is it possible to catch a bounce? Perhaps. I just think that it's, like, again, another stock that's like thinly traded. Don't really need to put this on our watch list. And more often than not, for a stock that made such a big move up earlier today, if it's not near the highs, at the highs, I wouldn't really be expecting it to make that great of a move. So even on Ocean Power, OPTT, I'm putting that on our list because we're familiar with it, and it's a lot easier of a trade in terms of the order book. Less risk. You could read the orders a lot better. This is like, you can't read like crap. All right, is this Sprint S? Nope. It's so funny because the second I saw that, my brain clicked right away. I'm like, no way Sprint's relisted here. I mean, like, I knew that they merged, I think, with T-Mobile. So nonetheless, I'm like, all right, what could this be? Sentinel One. I don't know what the company is, but they took over the ticker S. But it's funny, we saw Krispy Kreme get relisted this week. I don't know. I think they were KK in the past. They're DNUT now. Probably want to get away from that ticker in case if anyone mistypes that. So that was probably good planning on their end. But yeah, S, getting back to this here. I mean, an IPO, I don't know. Not really much going on there in the order book. Kind of flat trend there. Another stock we're familiar with. We did all right on this earlier. It was a decent play given it was kind of thinly traded on the way up. The ISE E-Trade ended up making the move roughly from, I mean, I guess it from 7, but we really called it out once it broke the HOD. We called it out from Benzinga Pro, popped up, and ended up running up perfectly after. So it was a nice gift. See, damn, where am I right now? Up 8%. All right, so we made our way through down. We made our way through down here. I was like, I got our way tripped up here. Let's see. The VISL, I think that we said we were going to get to. It was kind of at the highs before. Popped up just up to 304 high. Yeah, I mean, given the afternoon move, I mean, it's near the highs, right? So give it a shot. Notice my tone on that, right? Like, not really chomping at the bit on that. I mean, again, good spread, good order book, level 1 or 2 stock. If you can show more buying off of 3, it might pull back to 290 first. VWAP's off 286 off such a pop. It wouldn't shock me to see it pull back lower before anything. So maybe we see 290 before 304 again. All right, so we'll hop over to the losers list here. I don't really see much else on the gainers end that was like a familiar name. Oh, actually, crap, I lied. CLSD. I dumped it off right now. Not a whole lot really to work with there. All right, so we'll hop over to the loser side. ITRM got crushed early on today. Ended up making the dead cat bounce. We saw that earlier today. So, made for a nice play. But right now we're done on it. Arrowhead got crushed in pre-market, I think, off of earnings. All right, we keep it kind of skipping ahead, really. I mean, we know this, on the loser side. Oh, actually, let me just prep up my Bitcoin chart. Going into the end of the week, you knew I would be showing that, but we'll pull back from Wednesday into today on Bitcoin. We'll get to that in a second, at least. But yeah, I mean, Smith and Wesson SWBI down 11.5, shortable. Yeah, again, not really like refrigerator material, as I would say. All right. Sorrento made the percent gainers list yesterday, and goes to show why that not really. I kind of yelled at someone earlier, one of our students, and he had a great day today, Brian W. I know he ended up dropping off from the trading room earlier to enjoy his 4th of July weekend, but I sounded firm, but it's true. I'm so adamant with it, and this can't be a better example of it. Just you can't turn a day trade into a swing trade. Just like, oh, so SRNE was moving up into the close yesterday. It looks great. Let's just swing it into tomorrow morning. It's more likely to gap up, right? I mean, perhaps, but that's at your discretion, right? We do not advocate for that. That's like cardinal rule number 1. Do not turn a day trade into a swing trade. If you do so, do it responsibly. If you're trading 1,000 shares of this stock, scale out at the end of yesterday afternoon like 800 shares. Keep 200 overnight or at least into the after hours and make that decision from that point. That's what I was doing earlier this week on a few trades. And swing into the next day. I just kind of played it into the first 30 minutes of the after hours closed, but it just goes to show here. It doesn't work out, right? Down 9% right now. I ended up making a couple of bounces off of 10 earlier. I missed that, but could have been decent day trades there. But yeah, for the afternoon, not really much going on. All right, I'll tell you, market's up. Market had a great day today. S&P ETF SPY, pushed up earlier into the afternoon. It was like kind of like coasting, grinding, and then all of a sudden just started running up. It made for a great afternoon so far across the board. I will get to Bitcoin in a second. Let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than like 5% that you would want me to check out here before I wrap it up. AMC made a run from low of the day, says Daniel on YouTube joining us today. Let's see. Wow, that hell of a slingshot. You are right on that. Yeah, I missed that on AMC today. Same thing happened on Workhorse. So I guess I can kind of correlate that. I don't know what news came out on Workhorse. Actually, I will check. I told you I got time today, so nothing but time. Don't really see any trades I'm chomping at the bit for. So I got one stock actually on Benzinga Pro popping right now. I'll look at that in a second. But this Workhorse trade made a really nasty snap down. It reminded me of that AMC trade that Daniel just wrote to me there on YouTube. So it looks like they fell in sympathy of Lordstown Motors, and that's RIDE, right? RIDE. Oh, they got smoked. Jeez. All right, so what's the news on RIDE? So RIDE shares trading lower following reports suggesting the Department of Justice is probing the company. Interesting. All right, well, that's all I got, at least on that. I'm sure we'll find more at least over the weekend on other news outlets. But yeah, this RIDE trade took a big hit. Workhorse went with it. They do trade together. We knew that, but interesting. Keep them in mind for next week. That's for sure. All right, so I got one stock I told you about, and then we'll jump to Bitcoin and then finish up from there. So SYPR, the stock, just popped up on Benzinga Pro. It's up 10%, trading 835,000 right now. That's decent. Spread's not terrible. Order book kind of liquid on the ask, which means there's a lot of orders on the ask that need to get filled in order for this to run. I don't know. Just popped up on Benzinga. Don't really need to put this on our list just yet. The VISL, though, this looks a little bit better. It actually no pullback to 290. Ended up making the push right back up, broke higher. So hopefully this keeps on grinding on up for us right now. This is already on our list, right? We'll check out Emrin, we'll check out DD, and then we'll get to Bitcoin, and that's it. Not much going on there. And not much going on here. All right, so we'll hop over to Bitcoin. I'll show the chart really quickly for any of our crypto people here, at least into the afternoon meeting. I'll tell you, I got a little news. Not on Bitcoin, but on another one. One that I'm heavily in, and I told you folks that in past afternoon meetings. More so if you're in Cyber Group, I talked about it a lot more. Because I've had more of a time, to chat with you folks there. But for right now, it's just to say, this is the daily chart. So just seeing back from Wednesday of this week, just slowly dropping off. That's it. Not much to really write home about. I'd rather see it up, obviously, but I feel pretty confident about August. Let's say that for the research that I'm doing, for the people I'm studying on Bitcoin, their studies and their research, which have been true since the beginning of March of last year. But I started really following them back in like April, May time of last year. That's like when I personally first started following crypto. So the same people I've been following are believing that August is going to be really strong. So, I'm still very bullish long term regardless. I mean, I was saying from the beginning of it all, and they've been saying, focus on like December, January of 2022, December of 2021, and so forth. But, for right now, just little consolidation. We'll see where it goes going into the weekend, and I'll come back to this chart on Monday. That's it. Oh, whoops, hold on. Little more news on that. I said I got a little news, and that was it. So on one of the positions that I'm in, and it's the one that I'm in the most. I don't know why it's not letting me go to it. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Cardano, ADA. There was some big news regarding Grayscale, which are practically the Winklevoss twins. You folks follow them and all of that. They're some of the biggest holders in crypto altogether. Bitcoin, finally, their company Grayscale ended up adding Cardano fund as part of their portfolio, and it's the third largest in terms of their portfolio. So for myself, I'm pretty excited about that. It's not going to be an immediate, giant run up. I think it's going to just be very beneficial over the next 2 weeks to 6 weeks, perhaps. But nonetheless, just today, it made for a nice little small move up. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens on Cardano in particular, ADA, but I've been showing more Bitcoin really for all of us in the afternoon streams, at least, of late, right? All right, so last one on the chat board. Oh, what the hell is that? Really quick. My apologies. All right, last one, or maybe last couple. From Patrick, U1, he's calling out, yeah, I mean, since I've been flapping my gums here, U1's been pushing up really nicely. So it's a stock we're familiar with. I don't mind adding this to our watch list for right now, definitely. To Winklevi twin. Yeah, that's right, Jason. Plural. EFOI nearing highs again. A stock already on our list, of course, but Jeffrey M calling that out inside Cyber Group. Who do I follow in crypto? I'm going to type that in the chat board, Bonnie. I will. Just give me 10 minutes probably. I got to take a quick breather from this meeting. I've been flowing nicely, but I got to stretch the legs, refill up the water, and all that stuff. I'll be back in 15 minutes on the broadcast or on the commentary inside the trading room, and I'll tell you all about it. I will tell you. But that's a good segue for all of us in social media. So let me do this right now while I have the chance. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started on a small trial. If you're feeling free to join us this afternoon, I'll tell you all about my crypto studies and the people I personally follow. I'll gather an official list at some point, but off the top of my head, Bonnie, I'll tell you just later on. Probably forget one or two. Yeah, nice call, though, on this EFOI, Jeffrey. Clove in recovery from Leda. Slow grinder, good sideless stock. That's it. But I was watching that earlier today, actually, really quick. I got time, right, Daniel? We got time, right? So on Clove, my first trade of the day, I didn't even call it out to you folks, I don't think, inside Cyber Group. I was a little skeptical of it. But I saw this bottom out at first at 12, and I jumped in long expecting a squeeze up, and I saw a workhorse move up at the time, and perhaps, I was hoping the Reddit stocks would go up, and ended up chopping back down. I took a dinky 4-cent loss, 5-cent loss, nothing bad. But just, again, another example goes to show why you can't, hold on to a losing trade just hoping it goes up, I took 2 losses on this, actually. I thought it would pump up right here, and I jumped in, pulled back, took another 2-cent hit. Weren't big at all, but it's just, if I didn't get out where I did, look what happened maybe 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, let alone the end result. But all right, folks, we got 4 stocks on the afternoon watch list heading into this afternoon. That's just about it. All right, so I'm going to take a quick breather. I'll be back on the mic right around 3:15, and then I'll close things out for all of us in Cyber Group. For all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon. And for all of us that are new, hopefully going forward, happy 4th of July weekend, of course, with that in mind. Markets are closed on Monday, on the 5th. So we will tune back in, or we will check back in with you folks on Tuesday. And again, for all of us inside Cyber Group, I will be back on very shortly from now. All right, I'll talk to you soon.